Hey guys, we just finished our sections 5 through 9, and so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what was said and done and what I got out of it. So, our first section that we went over was the master plan of evangelism, which is basically it told me how to be a better leader. Like, before you're a good leader, you have to be a good follower so that you know what your followers are thinking and how they feel when you do certain things. And it also taught about how important it was to have big numbers in church, not necessarily to make your church better than everybody else's. And big numbers don't make your church more spiritual, but it allows more people to be reached because there's more people there to reach. So that one was it was really good for me because I'm from a really small church, and it was just, I don't know, it's good to see that other churches are bigger and not necessarily better, but it's just nicer to see that there's more out there than just really small churches. But the sixth section is simplicity, which this was a big eye opener for me because it's all about how to live a simple life. It teaches us that we need to have a simple life to appreciate the things that God gives us, and no matter what, God's always going to provide everything that we ever need. Not necessarily everything we want, but if we need it, He's going to provide for it. And it talks in Matthew 6:33 that God tells us to be humble in everything that we do, and we can step back and look at the rest of our life, and we can just appreciate what we have. So the seventh section that we did was the plan to fit in with Chi Alpha, what your best place to help lead and disciple from. And we took this really cool little quiz thing to see which kind of section you placed into, and I was the ninja, which is kind of cool because nobody else placed in the ninja. And the ninja is a procedural, task-oriented, and detail lover, which means I like to be behind the scenes and clean up the cap after everything's done, or set it up, or possibly organize big events and stuff like that, which is really cool. And it also showed the different structures that we have in Chi Alpha, the three rooms of the house. And the foyer is the gathering, which is the big group, and living is more things what you would do in the living room. Like, everybody in the family always goes to the living room, so it's things like fifth quarter and fun things that we have outside of actual worship and just fellowship time. And then one of the most important is the kitchen, and the kitchen is where the cell group takes place because it's a smaller confined group and it's more intimate. And this section also tells us how important it is to have small groups, because you do get that more intimate and you get more mature through Christ with your friends. And it really helps when you have a mentor. We had a little graph that showed us things that it was a method for healthy Christian relationships, and you're in the middle, and then you have someone above you that is your upward mentor, which would be a leader or pastor at Chi Alpha. And then you have your downward, which is a friend who's possibly not in Chi Alpha that you need to reach. And then you also have your external and internal lateral relationships, which the internal is someone from Chi Alpha, possibly an accountability partner. That's really important. And the external is someone from BCM or something like that, who's in another Christian group that you talk to, and is kind of like an accountability partner beyond Chi Alpha. So that keeps kind of a balance in your relationship with God and with other people, and it helps you check up on yourself. And the eighth section is Fusion 2.0, which was basically breaking down the cells and how they were structured, and why it's so important to have a structure in a cell to keep everyone focused, and also to, just keep on task and not stray away from anything ungodly or, anything like that. So that one was really important. And then section 9 was the Holy Spirit, and this one was probably the most intense section that we did, we learned about all the spiritual gifts that God gives, and we mostly talked about speaking in tongues and like the different ways to speak in tongues and like different times that God gives you the ability to speak in tongues and how there should be an interpreter and just different things like that that are important. And we went through, I believe it was First Corinthians, and it tells you like exactly how to speak in tongues, not necessarily how, but the proper way to do it so that it's not deemed ungodly. But yeah, so that was the end of our sections, and we had a great time. And if you haven't done this, you should definitely think about it. So.